The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos as the holographic footage flickered to life, revealing rows of metallic pods containing what appeared to be preserved human bodies. This was a human cryo chamber, and it sent shockwaves through the assembled alien representatives. Tharos, the Talarian diplomat, stood at the center of the circular chamber, his blue skin glistening under the harsh lights. He manipulated the holographic controls, zooming in on one of the pods. "Esteemed colleagues," he addressed the council, his voice carrying a mix of excitement and trepidation. "What you see before you is a derelict human spacecraft discovered drifting in deep space. These pods, as primitive as they may seem, are in fact advanced stasis chambers, preserving living humans for extended periods." The chamber filled with a cacophony of alien voices, each species reacting in their own unique way. The insectoid Zaktki clicked their mandibles in agitation, while the gelatinous Blobians quivered with barely contained curiosity. The reptilian Srathi hissed in disgust at the sight of the fragile human forms. "Order! We will have order!" bellowed the council elder, a wizened Quarian whose tendrils writhed with agitation. As the chamber quieted, he turned his compound eyes towards Tharos. "Explain the implications of this discovery, diplomat." Tharos cleared his throat, a nervous gesture he'd picked up from his time studying humans. "This technology was previously unknown to us. It suggests that humanity's capabilities far exceed our current assessments. The threat level must be re-evaluated immediately." The council members erupted into heated debate. Some argued for the immediate destruction of the ship, fearing the humans could pose a significant threat if revived. Others advocated for attempting to revive the occupants, seeing an opportunity to gain valuable intelligence about Earth and its technology. As the arguments intensified, the council elder raised a tendril for silence. "We cannot make a decision based on fear or curiosity alone. We must investigate further." He turned to Tharos. "Assemble a research team. We need more information before we can proceed." Tharos nodded, then hesitated. "There is one more matter, Elder. We have a human in our custody who might prove useful in this endeavor." Gabriel's mind raced. This was an unexpected opportunity, a chance to free his fellow humans and possibly escape Talarian custody. He masked his excitement with a curt nod. "I'll help, but I want assurances of fair treatment for any humans we revive." The elder waved a dismissive tendril. "That will be determined based on the information we gather. Prepare for departure immediately." As Gabriel was led away, Tharos began assembling the team. A mix of alien scientists and security personnel were chosen, each eyeing Gabriel with a combination of curiosity and distrust. The human ignored their stares, his thoughts focused on the mission ahead and the potential for rescue it presented. Within hours, the team boarded a Talarian research vessel. As they broke orbit and set course for the derelict human ship, Gabriel found himself both eager and apprehensive. He knew the journey ahead would be fraught with danger, not just from the unknown status of the cryo chambers, but from his alien captors as well. As the stars streaked by outside the viewports, Gabriel steeled himself for what lay ahead. The fate of the humans in those cryo chambers, and possibly the future of Earth itself, now rested in his hands. The Talarian research vessel approached the derelict human ship, its sleek form dwarfing the ancient Earth vessel. As they docked, Gabriel felt his heart race, knowing that his next actions could determine the fate of humanity. The airlock hissed open, and Gabriel stepped onto the human ship alongside the alien research team. The corridors were dimly lit, emergency power barely sustaining life support systems. As they moved deeper into the vessel, Gabriel's eyes darted from side to side, taking in every detail, searching for an opportunity. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. The cryo chambers began activating, their ancient systems whirring to life after decades of silence. Lights flickered on the pods, and the lids started to open with a hydraulic hiss. Tharos barked orders in his native tongue, his blue skin flushing a deeper shade in agitation. The alien security personnel rushed to contain the situation, their energy weapons charging with an ominous whine. Gabriel seized the moment. With a swift motion, he slammed his shoulder into the nearest guard, breaking free from his captors. The energy cuffs sparked and fizzled as he rolled away, using the confusion to his advantage. "Stop him!" Tharos shouted, but Gabriel was already sprinting down the corridor. His eyes locked onto a cryopod near the end of the row. The name etched on its surface made his breath catch in his throat. Dr. Sarah Chen. Gabriel's fingers flew over the control panel, initiating the revival sequence. The pod's lid slid open with a soft hiss, revealing the face of a woman Gabriel hadn't seen in years. Dr. Chen's eyes fluttered open, confusion evident in her expression. "Sarah, we don't have much time," Gabriel said urgently, helping her sit up. "We're on the Artemis. Aliens have found us and we need to take control of the ship." Dr. Chen's training kicked in, and she quickly assessed the situation. "The others?" she asked, her voice hoarse from disuse. "Some are waking up. We need to protect them and get to the bridge." As they spoke, the sounds of struggle echoed through the ship. Disoriented humans emerged from their pods, instinctively fighting against the alien intruders. The narrow corridors became a battleground, filled with shouts, the crackle of energy weapons, and the clang of improvised human weaponry. Gabriel and Dr. Chen made their way through the chaos, ducking into side passages, and using their knowledge of human ship design to outmaneuver the aliens. As they neared a junction, a Talarian security officer appeared, weapon raised. Before Gabriel could react, Dr. Chen grabbed a loose pipe from the wall and swung it with surprising force. The alien crumpled to the ground, its weapon clattering across the floor. "Nice move," Gabriel said, scooping up the fallen weapon. "Xenobiology includes studying alien physiology," Dr. Chen replied with a grim smile. "I know where to hit." They pressed on, making their way towards the bridge. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with an alien unlike the others, a Rigelian with iridescent scales and large, intelligent eyes. "Wait," the alien said, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. "I am Zach 7. I want to help you." Gabriel kept the weapon trained on her. "Why should we trust you?" "Because I disagree with the Council's treatment of humans," Zach 7 explained quickly. "This situation will only lead to more conflict. I can help you reach the bridge and reactivate your systems." Dr. Chen and Gabriel exchanged a look. "All right," Gabriel said cautiously, "but one wrong move and—" With the Rigelians' help, they navigated the ship's maintenance tunnels, avoiding the worst of the fighting. They emerged onto the bridge, finding it mercifully empty. "I'll start bringing systems online," Dr. Chen said, moving to the main console. Her fingers flew over the controls, muscle memory overcoming years of cryo-sleep. Gabriel turned to Zach 7. "What can you tell us about the current situation?" As the Rigelian explained the Galactic Council's stance on humanity and the events leading to their discovery, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Tharos is retreating," Zach 7 said, interpreting the sensor data. "He's sending a message to the Council. We don't have much time." Gabriel took the helm, his hands finding the familiar controls. The Artemis shuddered as its ancient engines ignited, pushing away from the Talarian research vessel. "We're not out of this yet," Gabriel said, scanning the readouts. "Weapons are offline and the FTL drive is damaged. We're limping at best." Dr. Chen accessed the ship's database, her eyes widening as she read. "Gabriel, this ship, it wasn't just an escape pod. It was part of a mission to establish a human colony. There's a planet called Haven. We have the coordinates." "How long to get there?" Gabriel asked. Gabriel nodded grimly. "And the Council will be right behind us. We need to organize our people, repair what we can, and prepare for a fight." As if on cue, a group of humans entered the bridge, led by a woman in a tattered military uniform. "Captain Young," she said, surprise evident in her voice. "I'm Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez. We've secured the lower decks, but we've got wounded, and only about 50 of us are awake." "Good work, Commander," Gabriel replied, slipping into a leadership role. "We need damage control teams, medical staff for the injured, and someone to assess our weapons situation. Dr. Chen will coordinate our scientific personnel. We have an ally," he gestured to Zach 7, "who can provide intel on our pursuers." As the crew dispersed to their tasks, Gabriel gazed out at the star-filled viewport. The Artemis accelerated away from the site of their awakening, carrying the hopes of humanity with it. He knew the Galactic Council would be marshalling its forces, preparing to hunt them down. Gabriel set his jaw, focusing on the challenges ahead. They had a dedicated crew, a destination, and a fighting chance. Now they just needed to reach Haven before the Council could stop them. Gabriel's eyes scanned the bridge, taking in the determined faces of his crew. The Artemis surged forward, its ancient engines straining against the vacuum of space, but as they pushed onward, alarms began to blare across the ship's systems. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez called out, her fingers flying over a control panel. "Life support is failing in sections 3 through 7. Oxygen levels are dropping rapidly." Gabriel's eyes sharp. He'd known this moment would come, but he'd hoped for more time. "Seal off those sections, reroute power from non-essential systems." "It's not enough," Rodriguez replied, shaking her head. "We need more hands on deck to manage repairs." Gabriel nodded grimly. "We have no choice. We need to wake more of our people." He turned to Dr. Chen, who was already moving towards the door. "Sarah, I need you to revive anyone with engineering expertise. We'll need every skilled hand we can get." As Dr. Chen hurried off to the cryo bay, Gabriel addressed the rest of the bridge crew. "I know we're all exhausted, but we can't falter now. Every system, every wire, every circuit, it all needs to be checked and double-checked. Our lives depend on it." The crew dispersed to their tasks, leaving Gabriel alone with Zach 7. The Rigelian's iridescent scales shimmered in the dim light of the bridge. "Your people are resilient," Zach 7 observed, "but I fear the Council will not give up so easily." Gabriel's response was cut short as Dr. Chen returned, accompanied by a tall, broad-shouldered man with close-cropped grey hair and piercing blue eyes. "Captain Young," Dr. Chen said, "this is Major Marcus Steele. He's a military strategist with extensive engineering knowledge." Major Steele stepped forward, his posture rigid and eyes critical as he surveyed the bridge. "Captain," he said, his voice gruff, "I've been briefed on our situation. With all due respect, I have some concerns about our current course of action." Gabriel felt a flicker of irritation but pushed it aside. He needed every able mind working together. "Your input is welcome, Major, but right now we need to focus on keeping this ship running. Can you assist with the life support repairs?" Steele nodded curtly. "I'll see to it immediately, but we'll need to discuss our long-term strategy soon." With that, he turned on his heel and strode off the bridge. As the days wore on, the crew worked tirelessly to keep the Artemis functioning. Dr. Chen and Zach 7 focused their efforts on improving the ship's faster-than-light drive, huddled over schematics and alien tech in the engineering bay. "If we can integrate the Talarian power modulation techniques with our existing drive," Dr. Chen mused, her eyes alight with excitement despite her exhaustion, "we might be able to increase our speed significantly." Zach 7 nodded, her large eyes blinking rapidly as she processed the information. "Yes, but the power requirements would be enormous. We'd need to reroute energy from multiple systems." "It's a risk we have to take," Dr. Chen said firmly. "We can't outrun the Council forever." After days of tireless work, they emerged from the engineering bay, triumphant but cautious. As they explained their modifications to Gabriel, the ship suddenly lurched, nearly throwing them off their feet. Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. "Sir, we've detected a massive fleet approaching. It's the Council, and they're gaining on us fast." Gabriel's mind raced. They needed more time for the drive modifications to be fully implemented. His eyes fell on the ship's navigational display, and a desperate plan formed in his mind. "Helm, set course for that asteroid field," he ordered, pointing to a dense cluster of rocks on the screen. "We're going to lose them in there." As the Artemis plunged into the asteroid field, the bridge was a flurry of activity. Gabriel's hands flew over the controls, guiding the ship through the treacherous maze of space debris. Behind them, the Council fleet hesitated, unwilling to risk their larger ships in the dangerous terrain. Major Steele's voice came over the comm, tense and urgent. "Hull breach in Section 5. We're losing atmosphere." Gabriel gritted his teeth. They couldn't turn back now. "Seal it off. We push forward." As they emerged from the asteroid field, Gabriel allowed himself a moment of relief. They'd bought themselves some time, but at a cost. The ship's systems were strained to their limits, and the Council fleet would regroup soon. Major Steele stormed onto the bridge, his face a mask of hardly restrained fury. "Captain, we need to talk about our defensive capabilities. We're sitting ducks out here." Gabriel turned to face him, aware of the crew's eyes upon them. "What do you propose, Major?" Steele's eyes gleamed with a cold light. "The stasis pods, we can convert them into makeshift torpedoes. It's not pretty, but it'll give us a fighting chance." Gabriel felt his stomach turn at the thought. Those pods held their people, their future. But as he looked at the commitment on the faces of his crew, he knew they had no choice. "Do it," he said quietly. "But only use the empty pods. We're not sacrificing any more lives than we have to." As Steele left to make the preparations, Gabriel turned back to the view screen. The stars stretched before them, holding both promise and peril. They had survived the asteroid field, but he knew their journey was nowhere near the end. The real test was yet to come. Gabriel's eyes scanned the view screen, taking in the vastness of space before them. The Artemis had survived the asteroid field, but at a great cost. The ship's systems were strained to their limits, and the looming threat of the Galactic Council burdened immensely on everyone's minds. As if summoned by his thoughts, a new contact appeared on the long-range sensors. Gabriel leaned forward, his brow furrowing as he studied the readout. Before Gabriel could respond, a transmission crackled through the ship's speakers. "Artemis, this is Captain Lyrax of the Outcast Coalition. We've been tracking your escape from the Council. We offer our assistance and propose an alliance." A tense silence fell over the bridge. Gabriel felt the weight of every eye upon him, waiting for his decision. He knew this moment could change the course of their entire journey. "Open a channel," Gabriel ordered, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his mind. "Captain Lyrax, this is Captain Young of the Artemis. We're interested in hearing more about this proposed alliance." As Gabriel engaged in negotiations with Captain Lyrax, the atmosphere on the bridge grew thick with anticipation. Dr. Chen and Zach 7 exchanged worried glances, while Major Steele's face darkened with each passing moment. Finally, Gabriel addressed his crew. "We're forming an alliance with the Outcasts. It's our best chance for survival against the Council." Major Steele stepped forward, his lips pursed. "Captain, with all due respect, we can't trust these aliens. We should face the Council on our own terms." "Your concerns are noted, Major," Gabriel replied firmly. "But this decision stands. We need allies, and the Outcasts have offered us a lifeline we can't afford to ignore." Under Lyrax's guidance, the Artemis entered a massive nebula, its swirling gases obscuring their path from prying eyes. As they navigated the cosmic maze, a colossal space station emerged from the colorful haze, a marvel of patchwork engineering that spoke to the ingenuity and desperation of its builders. As soon as they docked, Gabriel set his plan in motion. "Dr. Chen, coordinate with the Outcast scientists on enhancing our FTL drive. Zach 7, your knowledge will be invaluable. Assist her. Major Steele, I need you to oversee the weapons upgrades and hull reinforcements." The station buzzed with activity as humans and aliens worked side by side. In the engineering bay, Dr. Chen and Zach 7 huddled over holographic displays. Their excited chatter filled with technical jargon as they incorporated advanced alien tech into the Artemis's systems. Meanwhile, Gabriel joined Captain Lyrax in the station's command center, poring over star charts and tactical displays. "The nebula's electromagnetic properties," Lyrax explained, her four eyes blinking in sequence, "can be weaponized against the Council ships." As the preparations neared completion, tension mounted throughout the station. Gabriel stood on the Artemis's bridge, watching as Outcast ships took up formation alongside them. The comm crackled to life with an urgent message from the station's long-range sensors. "Council fleet detected," a voice announced. "ETA, 20 minutes. Gabriel's voice rang out clear and confident. "All hands to battle stations. This is the moment we've prepared for." As the Council ships entered the nebula, chaos erupted. The carefully placed buoys scrambled their sensors, causing confusion among their ranks. Gabriel watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as enemy ships collided with each other and veered off course. "Now!" Gabriel ordered. The Artemis surged forward, leading the charge alongside the outcast vessels. Energy weapons lit up the nebula as the battle began in earnest. Amid the frantic combat, Dr. Chen's voice cut through the noise. "Captain, we've intercepted a transmission from the Council fleet. They have a superweapon. They're planning to use it on Haven." Gabriel's blood ran cold. The stakes had just become impossibly higher. He opened a channel to Major Steele. "Major, I need you to lead a team to board Admiral Crax's flagship. Your objective: disable that weapon and gather all the intel you can." "Understood, Captain," Steele replied, his earlier doubts seemingly forgotten in the face of this new threat. Gabriel turned his attention back to the battle, guiding the Artemis through the chaos of combat. With a series of precision maneuvers, he created an opening in the enemy lines. "Major, you have your window. Go." As Steele's team launched their boarding mission, the battle intensified. Gabriel coordinated with the outcast ships, their combined forces slowly gaining the upper hand against the disoriented Council fleet. Time seemed to stretch as Gabriel waited for news from Steele's team. The Artemis shuddered under enemy fire, its enhanced shields barely holding. Just as it seemed they might be overwhelmed, Steele's voice came through. "Captain, mission accomplished. The superweapon is disabled and we've secured critical intel." Relief washed over Gabriel, but he knew the fight wasn't over. Admiral Crax, realizing the dire situation, ordered his remaining ships to converge on the Artemis. Gabriel found his ship surrounded, the odds mounting against them once more. But Steele's success had turned the tide. With their superweapon neutralized and their flagship compromised, Crax was forced to call a retreat. Gabriel watched as the Council ships fled the nebula, leaving behind a graveyard of twisted metal and scattered debris. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Gabriel met with his crew and their outcast allies on the Artemis's bridge. Major Steele approached, his expression softer than Gabriel had ever seen it. "Captain," Steele said, extending his hand, "I was wrong to doubt you. Your leadership today was exemplary." Gabriel shook Steele's hand, nodding in acknowledgement. "We all played our part, Major. The intel you gathered could change everything." Captain Lyrax joined them, her alien features set in what Gabriel had come to recognize as a smile. "This victory has not gone unnoticed," she said. "Other rebel factions across the galaxy are reaching out. Your awakening has become a catalyst, Captain Young." Gabriel absorbed this news, understanding the weight of responsibility it carried. He turned to his crew, seeing the mixture of exhaustion and tenacity on their faces. "Set a course for Haven," he ordered. "We need to reach the colony before the Council regroups." As the Artemis prepared to depart, accompanied by their new outcast allies, Gabriel knew that their journey was far from finished. They had survived this battle, but the war for humanity's future, and perhaps the future of the cosmos itself, was just beginning. As the Artemis emerged from FTL, the crew's elation at reaching Haven quickly turned to dread. The view screen filled with the imposing sight of a massive Galactic Council fleet in orbit around the planet. Rodriguez's fingers flew over her console. "At least 50 capital ships, sir. Weapons powered but not locked on us. They seem to be waiting." Gabriel's brow furrowed as he studied the display. Something wasn't right. The Council ships maintained a uniform distance from Haven, as if an invisible barrier held them at bay. Dr. Chen's voice cut through the tense silence. "Captain, I'm detecting an energy field encompassing the entire planet. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." "Can you elaborate?" Gabriel asked, leaning forward in his chair. Chen's eyes widened as she processed the data. "It appears to be some kind of advanced shield technology, far beyond what we had when we left Earth. It's keeping the Council fleet from approaching the surface." Gabriel exchanged a glance with Captain Lyrax, who had joined them on the bridge. The outcast leader's four eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of her own astonishment. "We need to make contact," Gabriel decided. "Transmit on all frequencies. Let's hope someone down there is listening." For several agonizing minutes there was no response. Then Chen called out, Captain, I'm detecting a fluctuation in the shield. It's an opening. A small gap appeared in the energy field, just large enough for the Artemis and a few outcast ships to pass through. Gabriel didn't hesitate. As they descended through Haven's atmosphere, the crew stared in awe at the sight below. Gone were the prefabricated structures and fledgling settlements they had expected. Instead, a sprawling metropolis of gleaming towers and verdant parks spread across the landscape. The Artemis touched down on a massive landing pad, surrounded by a welcoming committee of humans in sleek uniforms. At their head stood a woman with an air of authority that immediately caught Gabriel's attention. As Gabriel led his team down the ramp, the woman stepped forward. "Captain Young, I presume. I'm Governor Elena Rodriguez. Welcome to Haven." Gabriel shook her hand, his palms sweating. "Governor, we have so many questions." Elena smiled. "I'm sure you do. Please follow me. We have much to discuss." As they walked through the city, Gabriel couldn't help but marvel at the advanced technology on display. Holographic displays floated in the air, vehicles zipped by on invisible cushions of air, and robots moved effortlessly among the human populace. In a high-tech conference room overlooking the cityscape, Governor Rodriguez began to explain. "We've been expecting you, Captain. For decades we've been monitoring galactic events, preparing for the day when our off-world family would return." Elena gestured, and a holographic map of the galaxy appeared. "We have a vast network of stealth satellites throughout Council space. It's how we learned of the Artemis's awakening." She paused, her expression growing serious. "But there's more. We've been actively supporting various rebel factions, including your outcast allies, to undermine the Council's power." Gabriel exchanged glances with his crew and Captain Lorax. The implications were staggering. Major Steele leaned forward, his tactical mind already racing. "With your technology and our battle experience, we could strike a decisive blow against the Council." Gabriel nodded slowly, a plan forming in his mind. "The intelligence we gathered from Admiral Crax's ship. If we combine that with your resources, we could locate and neutralize their remaining superweapons, while simultaneously launching an offensive against their key military installations," Elena finished, a smile playing at her lips. The room buzzed with energy as they began to flesh out the details of their audacious plan. Dr. Chen and Zach 7 were whisked away to collaborate with Haven's scientists on weapons and shield technology. Major Steele pored over tactical displays with Haven's military leaders, planning their surgical strikes. Gabriel found himself in the heart of Haven's command center, coordinating with Captain Lorax and Governor Rodriguez as they prepared to unleash their combined fleet against the Council. As the deadline approached, Gabriel addressed the gathered forces via holographic projection. Human faces mixed with alien visages, all united in purpose. A roar of approval echoed through the command center and across communication channels. Gabriel turned to Elena and nodded. "Give the order." Governor Rodriguez activated a comlink. "All ships commence Operation Starburst." In orbit, the massive shield protecting Haven flickered and disappeared. The Council fleet, caught off guard by the sudden change, scrambled to react. But it was too late. A swarm of ships burst forth from the planet's surface, Haven's stealth vessels, outcast fighters, and the Artemis leading the charge. They tore through the surprised Council forces, their advanced weapons cutting through shields and armor with ease. As the battle raged in space, Major Steele led a team of elite operatives on a series of lightning raids against the Council's superweapon facilities. Armed with pinpoint intelligence and cloaking technology, they struck with surgical precision. Back on Haven, Dr. Chen and Zach 7 worked feverishly alongside their new colleagues. Holographic displays flickered with complex equations and schematics as they pushed the boundaries of faster-than-light communication. Zach 7's metallic voice hummed with excitement. "The quantum entanglement principles are sound. We just need to stabilize the signal across interstellar distances." As the hours ticked by, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Council strongholds fell one by one, their forces overwhelmed by the coordinated assault. Major Steele's team eliminated the superweapon threat, robbing the Council of its ultimate deterrent. In the Haven Command Center, Gabriel watched as the galactic map shifted, more and more systems turning from red to green. Captain Lyrax approached, her alien features set in an expression of awe. "I never thought I'd see this day," she said softly. "The Council's control is crumbling." Gabriel nodded, his eyes fixed on the display. "And now comes the hard part, building something better in its place." As if on cue, a priority message flashed across the screen. Gabriel's heart raced as he read its contents. "The Council leadership is suing for peace," he announced to the room. "They're requesting a meeting on neutral ground." Governor Rodriguez stepped forward, her expression a mix of triumph and caution. "Then it's time to show them the new face of humanity. Captain Young, are you ready to make history?" As preparations began for the pivotal meeting, Gabriel couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning of an even greater adventure. The galaxy was changing, and humanity would be at the forefront of that change. The Artemis, once a lonely ark carrying the last hope of a dying species, now stood as a symbol of resilience and unity. As Gabriel boarded the ship that had become his home, he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Humans and aliens alike united in their quest for a better tomorrow. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.